So units in gacha games are not considered bad because they cannot clear the endgame content, rather because they just do the job less efficiently than their alternatives, who are simply a better unit. Now several months ago I made a video about characters with darker skin, how good are they and what are their problems. We noticed that they do not do so well, or are good, but restricted behind their powers, such as Kaeya C6. However, new characters with colored skins came in and I decided to make an update video to see how good are these units now. Keep in mind that I'll only include the characters from Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, as those are the only gacha games I play. I'll also be going from the weakest units to the strongest ones. So starting at number 9, to no one's surprise, we have Xinyan, one of the worst units from Genshin Impact. The reason why is this rock and roll musician so bad is the fact that her scalings are split on attack and defense. Therefore she is like between a physical main DPS and a shielder. Personally, if I would use Xinyan, I would use her as a shielder, as I do believe that's her best use. However, as her defense is split into an attack, it's best to use a second shielder like Layla to protect Xinyan's shield. With that, Xinyan doesn't even do this well as a shielder, so there is really no reason to unfortunately build her unless you like her. And Xilonen will never get better due to the fact that her scalings are split into multiple roles. Now at number 8 is Arlan, and Arlan is the only character on this list that's not from Genshin Impact. And of course the reason I didn't involve him in my previous video was because at that time I only played Genshin Impact. But basically just like Xinyan, he's one of the worst, if not even the worst unit from Honkai Star Rail. Basically this dude is like Hu Tao, but just way worse. Because Hu Tao's HP balance is well made in Genshin Impact, because she gains more damage after missing a certain amount of HP, while Arlan needs to be on the lowest health possible. This makes the poor guy so risky to play and impossible to use without a shielder such as Jeopard, as he's gonna die literally every time he takes damage. The reason why I put him above Xinyan is because, at least unlike with Xinyan, who cannot be stronger due to split scalings, I do believe that you can make Arlan stronger if putting him in the right team. Like for example, if you use him with a shielder Jeopard, a buffer Xingqiu, and a healer such as, let's say, Galahir, then he will actually do a decent job. However, someone like Kafka can do what he does, just way better and without those HP problems, and this goes to every other units as well. So there is no real reason to use Arlan unless you like him as well. At number 7 is Candace. Her kit is pretty simple, and it's pretty much just converting characters' attacks into Hydra. This can be situationally good for certain teams, however the problem is that there are way too many better Hydra characters. Even if Candace gets better after time and time, she still has to compete with monsters such as Furina, Xingqiu and Arlan, and simply stands no chance against them. Most of the Hydra characters are pretty broken, as how good the element is in the game anyway, but Candace is unfortunately worse than the majority of Hydra characters, putting her this low on this list. Another one that has the same problems as her is her friend Dehya. Now no idea got better and keeps getting better, but unfortunately she has to compete with Zhongli, Bennett and even Thoma, and she still simply loses to all of them. Basically Dehya is just so bad to Zhongli and Bennett, and this leaves out Thoma, who can shield and shines in version teams. Dehya may also shine in her own teams, but again, why use her when you have Zhongli or Bennett? Although I do gotta admit that I shouldn't have put her in the last place, even below Xinyan in my previous video, and I did it because I had no idea Dehya got better already ever since Fontaine, but at the same time, she is still very mid compared to the other Pyro characters. And don't even get me started on her auto-punching mode. Now finally onto a good unit, or at least decent if not good, which is Kaeya. Now Kaeya is literally just another Zhongli that's just way worse, but his Cryo application is really good anyway. Like I use Kaeya and he does a really good job, because he applies Cryo everywhere around me. Basically what he does is release the same icicles as Cryo Beast Mage does, and then they spin around the active characters, which is actually pretty useful. This makes him a very consistent Cryo applicator, probably the most consistent even till this day, so even if he's power crept by other Cryo characters, he still shines in teams that need consistent Cryo application. His biggest problems are that his burst does not do that much damage, and that his constellations are ridiculously hard to get, as he is one of the starter characters, so it's for the best if you buy them from Pinon's bargain shop. In the end, Kaeya is just way too hard to maximize, and his damage just feels underwhelming compared to so many other units. However, he still isn't that bad due to his consistent cryo application that works really well in freeze and melt beams. Next up is Sethos, and honestly for a 4-star main DPS, he is very good. Even as good as Gaming, if not even possibly better than him. Sethos is another colored character that I use just like Kaeya, and I honestly destroy the enemies with Sethos pretty quickly. Do keep in mind that I play Sethos by only spamming his burst, as I prefer to play him this way, rather than charge attacking. But you can also play him by charge shooting at the enemies. Either way, he does a lot of damage from the distance, whether you play him on charge attacking or just by spamming his burst. That works best in Dendro teams, as he is an Electro character. In our case, he is basically a 4-star version of Cyno. Speaking of Cyno, he is next on this list. Just like Sethos, Cyno works really well in Dendro teams. However, only in a situation if you have the units that can keep up with him. Basically, the problem about this dude is the fact that he relies on his burst that literally takes 18 seconds of on-field time, which is just too long. So in his team, you need Furina, Nahida, and then a strong shielder such as Beidou, or if you don't have him, then use Zhongli instead. Otherwise, Cyno doesn't work well at all. So just like Kaeya, Cyno actually isn't necessarily bad, but it's just hard to maximize, and currently has only one decent team that I just mentioned. Now, also know that I placed Kaeya above Cyno in my previous video, but that's because he's a crowdsourced DPS, and I simply see more usefulness in that, rather than a decent 5-star Electro main DPS unit. But Cyno is honestly stronger than Kaeya, especially ever since Furina came out, as now he can deal lots of damage in his own team. Now the number 2 we have is Mualani, and she is a very good Hydra main DPS. Still not as powerful as Natlan, but still deals a lot of damage. It will probably get even better as more Natlan characters get released. Basically, she serves on her shark and deals Hydra damage to enemies, either by biting or nuking them, which makes her even great for exploration. Her biggest weakness, I would say, is that you can miss a hit on the enemy, which is a huge damage loss. Otherwise, Mualani is a great unit, who deals huge hits. However, there is one more character that is better than Mualani, and it is none other than Xilonen. Now, Xilonen is currently one of the best support units in the game, who shreds enemies' resistance depending on party members' elements, and can also heal through her burst, making her also a great option for Furina teams. So in the end, Xilonen without a doubt easily takes the number 1 spot on this list. So in conclusion, are Hoyoverse colored units still bad? Definitely not, and those new ones have definitely improved, to the point one of them is even meta. Now to quickly get through all of the 9 units on this list, as a summary, you know. Xinyan and Arlan are horrible units and there are many better options than them, although you can argue that Dehya and Candace aren't horrible, but there are also many better Pyro and Hydra characters than them, so I'd also consider them bad. Kaeya, Sethos and Cyno are pretty solid units. However, they have restrictions on their powers, whether they are a 4-star damage dealers or are just a, really hard to maximize. This only leaves us with Mualani and Xilonen, who are both from Natlan and best ones on this list. This right here proves that Natlan really did make colored units amazing for once. In our case, let me know if you have any more questions or if you disagree with my placements, and what would you change? Thanks for clicking on this video and paying attention, and I guess we will see each other in my next one.